Somebody I was complaining about the lighting on the last video. I said, because, folks, I didn't intend to do this, just so you could stare into my Adonis-like face and then judge me by how I look, how old I am. Oh, he's bald, he's middle-aged, he has a beard. He must be that evil devil that we hear about everywhere. Oh, gosh, people, please. But, as we all know, yeah, Doctor Who filming's going on. If you want the full, jive on that, the best people to check out are Doctor Who filming locations on the X, formerly known as Twitter, and Doctor Who Production News over there as well. Because chances are they've got the skinny on it. They know what's on. Also, we keep hearing little tidbits here and there, but I'm dying laughing because, once again, the big thing was they're destroying the show with spoilers. And I'm like, actors in costume on set. That's pretty much what we're getting. We don't know the storyline. We don't know where the new companion's getting picked up. It would be nice if, this new companion played by Verada Sithu was not a contemporary companion. But, see, it's kind of weird how back in the day you had companions, that were traveling with the Doctor who were not of the 20th century persuasion. Or even the 21st century. And they seem to run away from that like the plague. Like, originally Clara, played by Jenna Coleman, was supposed to be from the Victorian era. And then all of a sudden, the last minute, nope, we're going with contemporary Clara. But that's how it goes. Because I think it's not only that, it's because it's easier. You see, on a writing scale, you don't have to sit there and explain things that are happening in the modern era to a character from the past, or you don't have to have a character from the future where if you completely get it wrong, blah, blah, this. And I think that's what it is. It's mainly because it's easier. And you really don't have to keep going into that. One of the biggest things I wanted to bring out, because the reason why I have Fallout in the title, is because Fallout has fallen victim to one of the same things that Doctor Who fans, and Doctor Who, the TV show, has had to endure. That's right, folks. They've pulled out the continuity canon. And I'm not kidding. There are people who've watched the Fallout series who've enjoyed it, but they don't want to like it because, and I can't figure out what the big deal is, because I've tried playing Fallout New Vegas, and it does have a lot of good storylines in it, but it's not the end-all be-all of the Fallout games. I'm sorry, Fallout 4, as far as I'm concerned, knocked them all on their ass. They finally got power armor mechanics correct. They finally got power armor suits correct. And also, it's not like, oh, look, it's a new suit of body armor that I'm going to have to constantly repair. Well, then again, you are, depending on how much combat you get into. But just by wearing it, I have to repair it. Oh, it's one of the things I got sick and tired of in that game. Your gun's wearing down from just getting used. You have to get it repaired. Okay, maintaining a weapon is one thing, but oh well, we won't go into all that. But the main issue is people are claiming, okay, here's the first one. For you folks who've watched the Fallout series, I believe it was in episode 1, was it? Where they had the airship show up. Everybody now is swearing up and down because it has a name that was a misnomer for Prydwen, that it's the Prydwen from Fallout 4. One of the more colorful videos I saw said that basically ruins Fallout 4 because it's got to be the Prydwen, and if it's the Prydwen, that means only the Brotherhood of Steel ending can apply, and yada 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 yada. They never said it was the Prydwen. As a matter of fact, if they paid attention to the game rather than going out and blowing shit up, they stated in the game rather obviously there were several other airships back on the West Coast before the Prydwen was even constructed here on the East Coast. It looked identical to the Prydwen because probably they built the Prydwen based off the plans they had from earlier airships they had in the West Coast. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. Well, I don't know about any expansions on Fallout New Vegas. There is going to be a major upgrade to Fallout 4 coming soon. Now, there have been fans who've been trying to reconstruct Fallout Vegas and Fallout 3 on the Fallout 4 engine, but I've heard nothing about Bethesda doing it. And like I said, I tried playing New Vegas, I really did, and the system was it's not even a vault dweller as your central character anyway. I don't know why everybody says this, that, these, and those about it. I'm like, yeah, you're wearing a vault suit, but that's because you borrowed it from somebody else. But no, once again, people jump into conclusions. Also, get ready for this. Now, as we all know, for you people who've seen the Fallout series, at the very end we see New Vegas, and New Vegas appears to have been destroyed. Get ready for this one. This one, you're going to laugh your ass off at. Now, if I remember correctly, New Vegas takes place in 2281. Yeah. This series takes place 15 years after that in 2296. Why did I bother going through all that trouble to save and do all this stuff, in the game when, just 15 years after it's going to be wiped out? Because it's a video game, you dunce. It's a video game, you plank. Well, I shouldn't have said nonce. Nonce is a whole nother thing. It's a video game, you plank. Just because you played in the sandbox doesn't mean you own it. And a lot of people seem to have forgotten that. It's a game. There were 100 other people quite a few thousand other people who played that game. And all of them had different results, depending on decisions. Yet, because the guy who created the universe said, this happened, life is over as we know it. It's a game. Ugh. There's a TV series and there's a game. The TV series, yes, is held up as canon in the storyline of the games. Sorry. There are a lot more things to worry about on planet Earth than the continuity of the storyline in your TV series in the game. Okay, someone asked why the technology is the way it is in the Fallout series. If you go take a dip into the lore, and this is something I really wish, well, it's not really any way you can explain it in the show without breaking the fourth wall. The Fallout series takes place in a parallel universe. It doesn't take place in our universe at all. That's the only gripe I had about it, was just about all the cars, not all of them, but just about all the cars look like they came out of our universe. Over there was Corvegas, there was Fleas, there's all kinds of different kinds of cars. It was a completely different ballgame because it's a different universe. In that universe, certain technologies happened and certain technologies had not happened. Like, if I remember correctly, the transistor didn't develop over in the Fallout universe till way, way later. Which is why, their technology is more solid state, more based off tubes, way you call it, and other paths. Also, nuclear energy became pretty much the thing. Whereas here, we had, back in the 50s and all that, if you look around, I'm not kidding, go look up 50s concept cars. Because there's ones like the Ford Tachyon. It was a pickup truck. It was a concept car by Ford, which would have ran off a portable nuclear reactor. But of course, as we learn later on, it's not easy to make a portable nuclear reactor, especially when it's not going to wipe out, half the neighborhood. Or you're going to drive it for a while and then your, nuts are going to be glowing in the dark like your taillights. Yep, bottle caps, that happened also. Yeah, that did happen in the wasteland and all that. So it's a whole different, technological development. The main divergence for the Fallout storyline took place after World War II. Now, there are other things that were different in the Fallout timeline before that, but the main divergent was post-World War II, where you had... like over in Europe, you had the resource wars. And also, pretty much that was the whole thing for a lot of the wars in the 21st century in that universe. Because fossil fuels were not as abundant in the Fallout universe as they were in our timeline, in our universe. Also, the economy was going wacky. All right, we're talking hyperinflation. Your average car over there in the Fallout universe, your average sedan was about $300,000. A bottle of Nuka-Cola could cost you $20 or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Just to give you an example. So it was a whole different ball of wax. So it was on its way to a financial collapse, even if the war hadn't happened. Plus, as you see in the Fallout universe, if you played it, there's radioactive waste dumped just about every damn where. That's because every time you took your car in, you didn't get more gas, you got more coolant. And they'd pump out your old coolant, pump in your new coolant. And the problem is, what are you going to do with all that stuff? Especially, just imagine if you're in one of today's cars in our universe. Every time you go in to fill up your gas tank, now imagine instead that the used gasoline has to go somewhere. It didn't just get burned up. That's what you're dealing with here. Is that coolant that's been circulating through your system on your car is now heavily irradiated. It has to be pumped out so the fresh coolant can be put in. Kind of like when you get your oil changed. That's probably the better reference. Now, that waste stuff has to go somewhere. Like the Red Rocket in Fallout 4 up towards Sanctuary. Turns out they were dumping it into a cave right behind their gas station when they couldn't get rid of it any other way. Then, of course, you'll discover the mass fusion containment shed and then the disposal area, which just happened to be on a lake. Things like that. Well, folks, I got to get going because I am 2 minutes over. But I just wanted to give you an idea. Just because you play in the sandbox or you've played a game in the sandbox, so to speak, it's Todd Howard's sandbox. Just like we've been very lucky, that most of these guys don't go after you for fan films. They don't go after you, for various things. Just like George Lucas for the longest time. Star Wars was a sandbox. He didn't go after fans for making stuff. He didn't go after fans for creating reproductions and things like that. Or even selling stuff. Unlike Paramount, where if you had something that looked like a phaser, they would rip you a new one. Yep, that was what they were trying to explain. The Pip-Boy idea came from Walton Gogginson's character. Well, I got to get running. Take care, everyone. Be kind, become Friday. Enjoy your day tomorrow, so you're not going to miss anything if you don't face. Take care. Have a great day.